This may not be the Las Vegas you know.
Brand new Mustangs all day long.
This is the underbelly.
If you have a pistol, shoot him in the face.
An underworld filled with criminals.
You gotta make your next move be your best move.
With undercover cops trying to catch those crooks.
I told them to go pretty much themselves and catch me if you can.
In this episode, pimps and prostitutes.
He's got on my arms.
It's a very dangerous world. We go along on an all-out manhunt for a suspected pimp. And with our hidden cameras rolling,
the undercover police officer was literally on the street for less than 4 minutes.
shocking encounters in very public places.
And I mean, if you need me there for you, then you gotta invest in me.
Then we confront the pimps.
There's no crime in having 15 girlfriends.
And the prostitutes.
I'm done with Vegas, and Vegas is done with me.
To dig deeper into the mind of a criminal.
If I was a so-called pimp, I would never let my girls go solicit somebody while they're with me. Come on, get real. Why would I do that? That's just dumb.
It's real, it's revealing, and it's raw. Hello and welcome to Vegas Undercover Raw. I'm Chris Hansen. For more than a year, we gained unprecedented access to undercover sting operations run by the Las Vegas Police Department, including efforts to combat prostitution. The enforcement approach is three-pronged. They go after the prostitutes, the pimps who control the women, and the Johns seeking their services. Until now, NBC News has broadcast only a small part of the footage we recorded. By showing more of the undercover video and my confrontations with some of those arrested, we hope to shed more light on this illegal and often dangerous way of life. First, we take a look at the pimps and give you an incredible view into how the police try to shut them down. They have a unit here in Las Vegas called the Pimp Investigative Team. And one of the operations that they run is they have an undercover policewoman stroll down the strip posing as a prostitute. And within minutes, pimps start approaching them. Oh, you need somebody. You need somebody to take care of you. What do you expect the scenario to be tonight?
Tonight, our target are pimps. And these pimps are watching these girls work. And if that is a new girl that they don't recognize as having a pimp or knowing that she belongs to another pimp, they are going to try to recruit her.
Lieutenant Karen Hughes runs the Vice Squad, which includes the Pimp Investigative Team. Her unit arrested nearly 100 pimps in 2009 while seizing more than $500,000, 19 vehicles, and 7 guns. Now, there is this image that some people have of prostitution in Las Vegas being this glamorous, high-class world of call girls.
That's a fallacy. It is violent, it's vile, it's degrading.
The strategy is, if you go after the pimp, you're going after the top of the criminal organization, and you eliminate a lot of the abuse. They're making big money, these guys.
They're making huge money, and through manipulation, they make these women believe that this is their lot in life, this is their new family, and that he is everything. He becomes their daddy.
I haven't been here for that long. How long have you been here?
We were allowed to go along on one of these investigations. We had incredible access. What they do is they have an undercover policewoman stroll down the strip posing as a prostitute, and they wait until pimps or would-be pimps approach the woman and try to recruit her.
I'm in promotions.
Oh, yeah. I need a promoter.
Is that right? What do you do?
I got a cameraman up here, I got a cameraman over there, we got the hidden cameras over here, and these guys are just really aggressive. I mean, look, I knew this stuff went on, don't get me wrong, but to see it in real time and to be so close to it, you know, to be within feet of it, it was remarkable.
Undercover police officer was literally on the street for less than 4 minutes when she was approached. And as you can see, the conversation is continuing. If she didn't think he was a pimp, she would have walked away by now.
So how's the money going for you?
I guess it's okay. I mean, last night I made $400.
That's what?
3 dates.
3 days?
Yeah.
400?
Uh-huh.
Are you serious?
I charge $100 for sex.
You can do better than us, bro. You need a manager. You need somebody that's gonna give you guys somebody you can rely on, somebody you can call when the chips are down, somebody you can call when the chips are up. You know, somebody's gonna be there for you and keep you motivated, keep you focused. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not easy out here, you know, I mean, for anybody, especially in the business, because it gets scary sometimes.
It's like they have a script. I'll look out for it. The street's a tough place for a young woman to be a prostitute without a pimp. And they work them, and they work them, and they work them.
You've only been out here for 4 days. This is your first time out here? Wow, sweetheart, you really have a lot to learn. You're fortunate to meet a guy like me, because a lot of guys will try to take advantage of you or try to steer you in the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying?
Try to have sex with me, not pay. One guy tried to do that.
Yeah, guys will. And that's the difference what you'll get out of a service. When you're in the service, you know guys are going to pay. I mean, honestly, I'm getting kind of nervous out here. I don't know. It's like, I'm sitting out here.
The undercover has to be very careful because some of these guys are violent. And even though this is out in the open and a lot of precautions are taken to make sure that she is safe, you got to be careful.
It's really hit or miss if you're going at it alone. You really have to have somebody that's going to really...
Somebody to give me guidance?
To give you guidance. I mean, to be so blunt. I don't know how much pimping you had in your life. You know, I don't know how many guys...
I don't have anybody.
That's what you need. You need my help.
Well, I mean, yeah, to get going, the referrals, to help me out with, whatever you're going to help me out with.
That's not a problem at all. You know what I mean? I'm at your service. You know?
She knows exactly how to play it. And every word is being recorded and listened to by other investigators, so they know right when the line's been crossed.
And so, you got to make your next move be your best move. And, if you need me there for you, then you got to invest in me. You know what I'm saying?
Once he starts selling his services, he's crossing the line. He's breaking the law.
And what I mean by invest in me, I'm saying, I can't do things for free.
So she makes up an excuse to leave. She tells the guy, I have to go see a John. She goes away for an hour. We go away for an hour. We come back to the meeting spot. She gives him the money, a percentage of what she earned from turning the trick. And at that point, in the investigator's eyes, the law's been broken. And that's when they move in. They arrest him. They question him. They take him away. At one point, I get a chance to ask him some questions. Can you tell me what happened tonight?
I was going one way, female was going the other. She said something, I said something back. Next thing you know, I'm in cuffs, man.
So you just talked and that was it?
As far as I know, what else did I do?
Did you promise her anything?
I didn't make her any promises.
Did you offer her anything?
I didn't offer anything but a friend.
A friend? Did you tell her that you could be her pimp?
I've never been a pimp in my life.
You've never been a pimp in your life?
I'm not a pimp.
How did you get that money in your pocket?
She put it in my pocket.
She put it in your pocket. Now, why would a woman who you just met tonight give you money like that?
Because she's working for the police.
She also told you that she was a prostitute, that she was going to turn a trick and that you would meet like 40 minutes later, and that money she gave you was supposed to be from the trick she turned.
That's not what she said.
What did she say?
It was all a blur.
All a blur. It seems like when I ask the difficult questions about being a pimp, it's all a blur. Everything else, you remember.
I feel like I'm a victim of circumstances.
You're the victim.
I didn't have intentions.
Not the woman you tried to recruit so you could be her pimp. You didn't have to promise her certain things that a pimp would promise.
Recession. The economy's bad. I can't find a job nowhere. My intentions wasn't to come out here and do this. My intentions were to get a couple drinks and go back home.
What made you notice her?
She's a good-looking woman. I'm a good-looking dude. That's what I felt like attracted her to me.
And you wanted to be her pimp?
Never.
So you're set up?
I am set up. Honestly.
Unlike other suspects and criminals I've interviewed who ultimately admit to what they've done because they've seen the videotaped evidence, these guys arrested by the pimp investigative team won't give up a thing. I wasn't doing it. She's a good-looking girl. I'm a good-looking guy. I was just trying to make conversation. I mean, they do not give up a thing. But in court, Christopher does concede more than he did to me. He pleads guilty to a charge of attempted pandering and gets a suspended sentence of 1 to 4 years with probation for a maximum of 3 years. Coming up, Vegas PD on a manhunt for a suspected pimp.
I understand you're not over there, but like, is there any way you could go to the house?
They enlist the help of this woman. If you had not escaped when you did, where do you think you'd be today?
I'd either be in the hospital or the morgue.
Then I confront the suspect.
What about at the restaurant that time when she says...
Was y'all following us around at the restaurant that time?
When Vegas Undercover Raw continues. The Pimp investigative team also does street operations, and it was interesting because we were actually at their offices, and we end up in the middle of this very active case. Go with a SWAT team to a house to try to arrest this guy. And so we actually, watched this case unfold, live time, real action. The SWAT team is in the house now doing a thorough search to see whether or not this guy is in there. If they find him, they'll bring him out. If he's not there, the investigation team will be able to go in and start looking for evidence to make their case. How the cops got here is an interesting story. It started with not one, but 2 911 calls. The first was from a woman.
Do you live there?
My boyfriend lives there, but he just beat me up.
And another call from a man claiming he was being victimized.
I want to report a domestic violence.
The police figured Donna was telling the truth. And they figured that, Stephen Harris had a history, perhaps, of violence. We start early in the morning. The police are aggressively pursuing this case. Hey, Donna, Chris Hansen, nice to see you. The victim, Donna, is with them. We're in a parking lot. The goal is to try to find Stephen Harris. It had to be just a heck of an experience to go through this, to find yourself suddenly trapped, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Probably one of the worst experiences of my life.
Donna lives in Florida. She was in the Air Force for a while, divorced. She was online, MySpace, meets Stephen Harris. They develop an online relationship of some sort. He invites her to come to Vegas. She thinks this could be a legitimate romantic opportunity. How long were you here in Vegas before things went bad?
Approximately a week and a half.
Week and a half.
2 weeks.
Earlier, we saw a pimp trying to recruit someone he thought was a prostitute. But with Donna, we see another tactic entirely. An accused pimp trying to recruit someone who isn't a working girl at all.
2 weeks, yeah.
And what happened?
Everything was fine. We went out to eat. There were a couple gentlemen over there, a couple older white gentlemen. He had said something to me like, why don't you go over there and talk to him, see what you can do for us. And I thought he was kidding, so I kind of laughed it off. He didn't say anything until we got home, and he told me, he says, well, why didn't you do what I told you to do? I make the decisions now, you don't make your own decisions. He was like, you were supposed to go over there and talk to those gentlemen like I told you, and make us some money.
Make us some money?
Yeah.
Meaning turn a trick?
He wanted me to turn a trick and prostitute.
So at this point, you had to be thinking, whoa,
Yeah.
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I asked him, I said, are you really serious? Is that really what you brought me out here for? And he was like, yeah, did you think I really wanted to be with you? I grabbed a couple things and threw it in a duffel bag, trying to hurry up and get out of the house.
What did he do exactly?
He came over and put his arms, or his right arm around my stomach and grabbed my hand that I had my cell phone in. I wouldn't give it to him. I tried to pull away, and he threw me across the room.
Threw you across the room?
Yeah, he slung me across the room. I landed on my back, and then he started beating me.
He beat you?
Yeah.
So you got out of the house?
After that, he made me sit down on the bed. We talked for a minute. Then he made me go to the bathroom and let him watch me use the bathroom, which is humiliating. And then, after that... Sorry.
It's all right. If you had not escaped when you did, where do you think you'd be today?
I'd either be in the hospital or the morgue.
The cops need to find Stephen Harris. And this is all happening very quickly. And Donna bravely agrees to help the police find Stephen Harris.
Hey. What are you doing? I just wanted to know if I could come by and get my stuff so that, I can find my own way back.
Stephen Harris tells Donna that he's not at home.
I understand you're not over there, but, is there any way you could go to the house?
And he's not going to give up the location where he's at.
Okay.
No.
All right. Whatever.
The police don't know whether he's lying. You know, he could be hiding out in his big home. They figure that when they do get there, it's either going to be an arrest warrant, a search warrant, perhaps both. There was nobody home. Stephen Harris apparently hadn't been there for a while. All of a sudden, Stephen Harris calls one of the detectives on the pimp investigative team who'd been trying to reach him for days, trying to track him down. And this is where it gets interesting.
Hey, Stephen, how you doing, man? Let me ask you a question. It's not mandatory or anything like that, but would you be willing to fill out like a written statement about what happened just to get your side of the story?
They'd set up a meeting. There's a strip mall area, and here he comes, Stephen Harris.
Come on, Chris. Go.
They arrest Stephen Harris. As they're taking him to the police car, I approach him. I ask him if he wants to talk. I'm Chris Hansen. Nice to see you, all right? Once he figures out who it is, he wants to tell a story. We're doing a story on pimps in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Coincidence and lucky for me, huh?
Lucky for you. You ever see our show To Catch a Predator?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was she 17 or something?
No.
Good.
But the word on the street, Stephen, is that you're a pimp and you're running girls.
That's not the word.
She just made this up.
She made a lot of stuff up, evidently.
What about at the restaurant that time when she says...
Was y'all following us around at the restaurant that time?
I'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
You're in the restaurant. You tell her to go up to a group of men.
No, that never happened. I never...
So she's making all this up.
So, okay, what happened? I told her to go up to...
You said you go up to that group of men and see what you can figure out there.
At the restaurant?
See what you can do for them, yeah.
I'm going to ask you like this. If I was a so-called pimp, I would never let someone of my girls go solicit somebody while they're with me. Come on, get real. Why would I do that? That's just dumb. If I was a pimp, I wouldn't do that. So that story right there is just totally a lie, made up.
The picture that starts to come together here is one of you grooming her like so many other pimps groom women.
I told her she could be my woman. That's all it was. Right. You know what I'm saying? We did everything that you would do with a woman, and even some more. You dig?
How come you whooped her?
I didn't whoop her. She told y'all I whooped her?
She said that. She said she was defending herself from you.
Did she look like she had needed to defend herself? Did you see anything where she looked like she was beat up?
So you're the victim here?
Honestly, I am the victim. First, she beats me up. I call domestic violence on her. Now I'm going to jail for pimping. Yes, honestly, I am the victim here.
So you're saying you've never pimped any women?
Never pimped any woman, no. I called domestic violence on the girl because she beat me up, and the next thing you know, I'm in jail for pandering. Well, that's our system. That's what I want folks to know. So men out there, if you think you want to call the cops because your spouse beat you up, you might want to think about that again.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you talking to me.
No problem.
But after our meeting, Stephen Harris pleads guilty to pandering and is sentenced to 90 days in jail. Coming up.
He fell on my arms.
Can you get it? Two women with the same pimp tell remarkably similar stories. How many times did he beat you altogether?
Too many.
And I confront him. Well, how do you make your living?
I'm a 1-2.
You're a 1-2 what?
I'm an entertainer. However you want to call it, I'm an entertainer.
When Vegas Undercover Raw continues. Las Vegas. Casinos. Restaurants. And shows. Drawing 40 million tourists a year. It's known as an adult playground. Sheriff Doug Gillespie, who runs the Las Vegas Police Department, is aware of his town's reputation. Sin City, there is a perception across the country that certain behavior is tolerated here.
I know the advertising that you see out there may give people that impression, but it's far from that. We're a very proactive, hard-working, aggressive police organization.
I think there is also the perception that prostitution is legal here.
Well, in Clark County, it's illegal. It's a very dirty business. There's a lot of criminal activity associated with it. We're very aggressive in going after the three components of prostitution. You have the pimps, you have the prostitutes, and then you have the clients. And all three get attention by us.
One of the reasons why the pimp investigative team is so aggressive about going after these pimps is that in many cases they are violent guys. We are introduced to two women, Jessica and Elizabeth, who tell remarkably similar stories about living with, working for, and being abused by Mario. Mario is slick. He meets with Elizabeth, senses apparently that she's in a real bad spot, and within an hour convinces her to come to work for him. How did he come off? Was he a charming guy?
Absolutely. You know, he drove up in his Escalade, $10,000 worth of jewelry on. Of course, you know, it's attractive to someone.
And what did he tell you?
He asked me what I wanted to do with my life and, you know, what I wanted, and that he can make it all happen. And I packed my stuff, and an hour later I was in his condo.
How much would you charge?
I had a quota. You know, I had to make that quota.
And what was the quota for you?
$1,200 to $1,500 a night.
And what happened if you didn't make that quota?
Oh, he'd make sure.
Elizabeth tells horrifying tales of how Mario used threats, intimidation to keep his girls in line. So he shaved your head?
Yes. On the lowest setting of the clippers.
He knows your weaknesses.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows how to exploit them.
You know, it got to the point where I'd be so scared of him, I'd pass out before he got near me.
Did he ever hit you, abuse you?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I saw him hit one of the girls, and he was so nonchalant. You know, I've never been exposed to anything like that. And I was like, you know what? I don't respect men who hit women. And he slammed my head into the floor.
He slammed your head into the floor?
Yeah.
And why did you stay?
I really had no other choice, you know. After that, yeah, I tried to get out, and there was no leaving. He wouldn't let me.
What would he do?
He'd be like, all right, go pack your stuff. And then if I actually did it, he'd beat me so severely.
How many times did he beat you altogether?
Too many to count.
Too many to count. Yet you stayed.
I couldn't leave.
But Elizabeth does eventually leave. Mario is out of town when she decides enough is enough and makes her daring escape. Elizabeth tells her story to the police. Mario is arrested. He makes bail. And then when he's out on bail is when he apparently beats up Jessica.
He beat me up because he thought I was lying to him.
Because he thought you were lying.
Mm-hmm. He thought I was cheating on him.
Remarkably, Jessica's story is almost identical to Elizabeth's.
I woke up and he started yelling at me, asking me who it was, and then before I could answer him, he picked me up and threw me off the couch.
And what did you do then?
Slid on the floor, and then he sat on my arms.
And pinned you down.
That's when he hit me in my face.
Similarly, when he's accused of beating up Jessica, he also cuts off some of her hair. Jessica agrees to be interviewed by Detective Boffman. The detective gets a warrant, and basically there's a manhunt for Mario. There's this interesting parallel because that detective actually went to high school with Mario. And Mario knows that Chris Boffman's coming after him. And Chris Boffman knows that Mario's going to do his best not to get caught.
Hi, I'm back. Is Mario here? Where's he at? You know? You don't know? All right. All right, Chris. He is not here. What we did find, I told you about the hair that was cut that he chopped off her head.
They check out 2 other locations where he's been known to stay.
Nobody home?
He's not there. And then there's a phone call. It's Mario's lawyer. He has agreed to turn himself in. He makes bail again, and this is when I decide to go pay a visit on Mario at his home. Look, I just wanted to get your side of the story on all this.
I'm innocent. I said, the only thing I'm guilty of is being black and having a girlfriend that was a prostitute. There's no crime in having 15 girlfriends. I'm just asking, is there a crime? I'm not married. I'm still young.
There's no crime in having 15 girlfriends.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
But the question is, were they going out, turning tricks, and giving you the money?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, they wasn't. I never told her that she can go and sell her and get some money and give it to me. That never happened.
Well, how do you make your living then?
I'm a 1-2.
You're a 1-2 what?
I'm an escort myself. I'm an entertainer myself.
So you make money being an escort?
I'm an entertainer. However you want to call it, I'm an entertainer. However you want to call it. I'm addicted to pretty women, you know what I'm saying? So that's all it is.
They have evidence that they were turning over their earnings to you.
They don't have no evidence.
That Jessica had a black eye. Bruises all over her body.
Like I said,
she claims she suffered those injuries.
That's what she claimed, but like I say, that's what she claimed. But I'm gonna say it like this: I'm innocent of all of that, and in the end, the truth will come out.
Mario Davis denies any wrongdoing to me, but ultimately he pleads guilty to pandering and is sentenced to 5 years probation. You know, it's interesting, 5 years probation seemed light to a lot of people. And I posed this question to Chris Boffman, and his answer was, hey, look, we got a guilty plea, we got it on the record, and if he does one thing wrong in 5 years, he's going to go away for a long time. And so either he stops doing it, and we've achieved our goal, or he messes up, and he's gone for a long, long time. Coming up, Vegas police set up a sting operation.
Just took a couple more?
Yeah, it looks like she took a couple more. To catch prostitutes turning more than one trick.
We only have 20, so can I just take the 760?
When Vegas Undercover Raw continues. Welcome back to Vegas Undercover Raw. We've seen Las Vegas police officers putting themselves on the line to hunt down the dangerous, often violent men controlling the prostitution industry. Dangerous, often violent men controlling the prostitution industry. The pimps. Next, in never-before-broadcast surveillance footage, you'll see what happens when the Vegas Vice Squad sets up another undercover sting. This time to take down the call girls. What are you looking for tonight?
Tonight we are targeting the prolific prostitute that makes her living out of more than just prostitution.
Las Vegas Police Lieutenant Karen Hughes is in charge of the Vice Squad. And in this sting operation, she isn't just going after the working girls for prostitution, she's also taking aim at theft.
She is stealing from her clients, and we call those trick rolls.
Trick rolls?
Trick rolls.
The male undercover officer checks into a hotel room. It's wired with cameras, microphones, and she comes, and there's an expensive watch and some cash and a wallet. And they see if the woman takes it. And how often does this go on?
All the time. Goes on all the time.
The reason the police do these trick roll sting operations is because the reality is that a lot of these guys aren't going to report this because they're embarrassed by what's happened. The undercover police officer, posing as the John, calls for the escort service or the call girl, and literally within minutes, the woman is knocking on the door. So this woman was familiar to you guys?
Yes. She was encountered last night by one of the enforcement teams.
And how long has she been in the game?
Probably a couple months, according to her. She works for an escort service right now. She worked at a strip club prior to that, wasn't making enough money, and was a preschool teacher before that.
So she was a preschool teacher?
Went into cocktails, didn't make enough money there, so 3 months later, here she is.
Then we're going to actually have sex, right?
The drunk trick is basically when the undercover police officer posing as the John acts like he's had too much to drink and passes out.
Are you really that John?
Thus creating the potential opportunity for the woman to take the money, the watch, or whatever's out there.
You need help?
No. You ever seen a back, Robertson? It's kind of...
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. 23.
I did a favor for a friend who needed another girl, and it was easy $1,200 that I made in about 30 minutes. I was like, hey, I can bust my ass and work for a month. And I was hospital.
She gives him a massage. He passes out. She checks to make sure that he's out. And then she, in fact, takes a substantial amount of money, something like $1,100. Go. How strong is the videotape as evidence?
It's almost irrefutable. Not only do you have the undercover officer that is going to testify that that's the same individual that he encountered, we've got the videotape as well.
The former preschool teacher, Jessica Giel, pleads guilty to soliciting, but gets the grand larceny charge dismissed as part of a plea agreement. She's sentenced to time served. When another appointment arrives, this time instead of playing drunk, the undercover officer is in a wheelchair, and police are in for a surprise.
Yeah. You got me off the red book now, right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm in here too. Oh, are you? Yeah.
It's kind of hard to believe, but this woman is actually pregnant. This is one of those sad cases. How bad is this woman's life that she, while pregnant, shows up to, turn a trick in some guy's hotel room? That's a sad case.
Oh, wow. How many months were you over there? I was about 7 months. 7 months? Yeah, I'm blowing up now. It's not fun. Don't get pregnant. Thank God. Do you mind helping me up just for one quick second? I'm sorry.
The pregnant suspect helps the undercover officer over to the couch. She seems genuinely concerned about the job.
You okay? Uh-huh. I'm fine. You got me worried about you. Oh, no. I'm all right. Look, I've never really, done this before, so I don't know what positions you can go. What positions can you... Can you pretty much do everything? How much is it going to cost? For full, it's $250. Oh, $250, that's not bad. And, if they appreciate it. How many, hours is it? 1 hour.
They negotiate the deal for $500 for 2 hours, and even though she's clearly pregnant, she says there's really no limit to what she can do for him.
My wallet. If you want to, sorry. It's like the worst thing. It's in my backpack. It's on the top. You can just grab $500 from there. Out of the wallet? Or out of the wallet. The wallet. You can just grab it. I'm bringing your wallet. Okay. So then you can just grab it. I trust you. I have a trust thing. Oh, okay. Even when my friends are like, just go in my purse and get some chapstick or something. I'm like, oh, girl, you go in your own purse. Okay. Sorry. Coach, I got a little bit of winning. Thank you.
Go. Don't put her down. Do not put her down. Stop.
Relax. Stand up. Stand up. Turn around.
It's important to say not everybody stole. Many were quite concerned about the well-being of the so-called John, the undercover police detective. Even though maybe in her mind she was just taking the money that she was owed, it's still illegal, and she was arrested. The pregnant prostitute, Lorena Barrows, pleads guilty to soliciting, is sentenced to AIDS awareness counseling and fined $500. Coming up, the Sting Net's one of Las Vegas's most active prostitutes. This woman is considered a veto, a vice enforcement top offender. She's allegedly one of the 50 most prolific prostitutes here in Las Vegas. And I get to talk to her. Hey, Shannon, I'm Chris Hansen with MSNBC. To find out what life on the streets is like. And how'd you end up in this situation? When Vegas Undercover Raw continues. Las Vegas Police Department's Vice Squad targets pimps, prostitutes, and johns. And they've been a very busy unit, trying to put a scare into the criminal community. Over a 2-year span from 2008 to 2009, undercover officers make more than 7,000 arrests for soliciting prostitution. Of those arrests, nearly 500 come from their trick roll sting. And they give us an all-access pass to witness the sting firsthand. It's an undercover operation with inherent danger.
Please. Drop it.
I didn't even do nothing.
And the goal is to round up women who are not only selling their bodies,
400 for 2 hours.
but turning some other tricks on their customers. It's a hotel room, and it looks like a guy has been staying there. There's an expensive watch out, in this case a Rolex, some chips of some value, cash, and a wallet. So, if somebody wanted to take advantage of the situation, it's all right there. And it's all being recorded by hidden cameras and microphones. As our cameras record the action, some suspected prostitutes steal.
Just take a couple more.
Yep.
Yeah, she did.
2 more bills.
But it's important to point out that a fair number don't take anything other than the negotiated price. They may have been honest,
Turn around.
but they're still arrested for soliciting. And the cops recognize some of the ladies coming through the door, like this woman, who is a very familiar face. Police know her by name, Shannon. This woman is considered a veto, a vice enforcement top offender. She's allegedly one of the 50 most prolific prostitutes here in Las Vegas, according to detectives. And because of that, they believe she's more likely to try to rob a John. Just like in an earlier encounter, the undercover officer is pretending to be passed out.
Is this his watch?
I think so.
How many times has she been arrested? A lot. Yeah. Lots.
30, 40 times, maybe.
Probably more than that.
What's surprising is, how somebody so young could be so prolific. And, you can see the toll it's taken on her life. It's rough.
She's trying to check out the wallet, but she can only do it with one hand, and that's not giving her enough.
Right.
She already knows what she has in the chips.
So she's tucking the money into her skirt.
She doesn't even touch that Rolex.
It ain't over yet.
A tense moment for Shannon. The phone rings and she's worried the John she's robbing will wake up.
He's gonna go back to sleep. Good, go back to sleep. She's gonna consider those chips. I told you.
Couple of those.
Right there in that little bustier.
She just needs to leave. Take your stuff and go.
You see it coming. So once the woman takes the money or the chips or the watch, you know she's going to be arrested. Coming up, a candid conversation with one of Las Vegas's most prolific prostitutes. We had heard that you've been arrested some 50 times. Is that true?
Probably.
An opportunity to tap into the mind of a career criminal.
I'm done with Vegas, and Vegas is done with me, and this is not the life for anybody to take seriously.
When Vegas Undercover Raw continues.
Go.
The Las Vegas Police Department's pimp investigation team
Stand up. Turn around.
I didn't do anything.
ran a sting operation to catch prostitutes in the act.
Ooh, those are nice.
Not just for soliciting, but for stealing from John's too. Some took the bait, others didn't.
I tried to do that.
But the only thing for sure is that behind the glitz of the Vegas Strip, there's a dark story to be told. I first saw Shannon, designated one of Las Vegas's most prolific prostitutes, when she entered the hotel room wired by the Vegas police. And after her arrest, I wanted to find out from her what makes a woman arrested nearly 50 times keep going back to that life.
What happened? I was stupid. Is that what you mean?
You were stupid.
Yeah, I was stupid. I've never in my life robbed anybody.
We had heard that you've been arrested some 50 times. Is that true?
Probably. I think so.
Now, do you know what veto is?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I do know what it is.
Shannon has been in trouble with the law so many times, she's been designated a VETO, a vice enforcement top offender. You're one of the top 50 most active prostitutes in Las Vegas.
That's why I'm mad at myself right now, because I really haven't been. I've been trying to settle down, but every time I try to settle down, I always get in trouble.
Well, how did you get designated?
I just work on veto because I've been out here 8 years, and I've been out here every single day. And I've been busted more than 1 million at one time.
More than 1 million at one time.
By every single vice officer in Las Vegas.
Shannon, how old are you?
24.
24. And how'd you end up in this situation?
An ex-boyfriend of mine.
So is that how you got into the life? How old were you then?
I was just got out of the way, so I was 17, about to be 18.
And how much money can you make doing this?
You don't make any money no more, that's the whole point.
But you gotta make some money.
I mean, you make the money because you want to, you know what I'm saying, get things and all this other stuff. But I mean, back in the day, you used to make money. Like, I would make money.
Back in the day, how long ago?
Like, 5 years ago. I made like $2 grand a day.
$2 grand a day?
Mm-hmm.
And what'd you do with that money?
Stupid stuff.
Drugs?
No. Well, when I first started doing it, yeah, I was on drugs.
What kind of drugs?
I used to do speed. Mm-hmm. And then I had a baby, and then I gave my baby up for adoption. And I haven't done drugs since.
So you've been clean, what, 4 or 5 years?
No, I've been clean for 2 years.
2 years. What kind of men do you meet, usually, here in Vegas?
Sometimes I meet weirdos, like really weirdos.
Like how weird?
Want to call me a little girl and want me to tell them that that they're my daddy and that I'm 10 years old and all that other stuff. I mean, come on now.
Do you have a pimp, or do you run this on your own?
I had one a long time ago, and I was with him for 4 years when I first got into it, and he pistol whipped me 3 times. And
Pistol whipped you?
I got welts all over my head.
So you ran away?
Actually, he went to jail for prison, and he went to jail for life, and that's how I got away.
And now, how much money can you make doing this?
Now I really don't count because I'm not out there no more like that because I'm banned from Vegas. I'm done with Vegas, and Vegas is done with me, and this is not the life for anybody to take seriously.
So where do you go from here?
I think I'm going to jail.
And at some point, after being arrested 50 times, that's going to lead to a serious sentence.
Yeah, I mean some shit.
How do you get out of this?
Just giving it up.
Is that your plan?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want folks to know about your situation?
If they don't do it, don't get in it. Because it's not fun. It's not at all.
Shannon pleads guilty to the felony charge of attempted theft and gets 5 years probation. But when she commits an unrelated crime, her probation is revoked and her sentence is modified to 1 to 4 years behind bars. Here in Las Vegas, there's this perception that prostitution is legal. And in fact, there are numerous 800 numbers, call girl services. It's here. It's sad. Sad. It's very dark. I don't care if they are the most prolific prostitute in Las Vegas. These are hard lives. And while there's certainly good reason to do an investigation like this, I mean, nobody who saw it or took part in it was high-fiving that they caught somebody doing this. The Las Vegas Police Department stepped up their Vice Squad investigations, like the ones we've shown you in this hour, in response to a significant spike in criminal activity. Soon after the crackdown, they reported a 40% reduction in vice-related theft, and in fact, all major crimes involving pimps, prostitutes, and johns started trending downward, a trend they hope will continue. All this in an effort to reach their goal of making Las Vegas the safest community in America. That's all for this edition of Vegas Undercover Raw. I'm Chris Hansen.